Budget time is near for local governments. More from the perspective of the town of Ferdinand. Plus, could the Huntingburg Airport be a partner for the new solar park? And host Bill Potter has tonight's episode of Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin with Jasper police arresting a local man they say is connected to an explosives investigation at a Northside apartment complex. Around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, police took 25-year-old Jeffrey Reinert into custody at his apartment in Anna's Court in the 300 block of 42nd Street. Now, this arrest is in connection to an incident last Friday afternoon when JPD officers and DuBois County Sheriff's deputies, along with a bomb squad from the Indiana State Police, were called to Anna's Court after receiving information there was possibly bomb-making items and explosives in one of the building's apartments. After getting that tip last Friday afternoon, authorities obtained a search warrant for Reinert's apartment where officers say they found a shell of a pipe bomb with no explosives inside. Reinert was interviewed by police and admitted that the metal pipe bomb was constructed to scare and intimidate another person that he had been having issues with. Reinert was taken to and booked into the DuBois County Security Center. He's facing a level 6 felony count of possession of a hoax device. He is currently being held without bond. A Tuesday afternoon crash along US 231 south of Hayesville left both drivers with minor injuries and tied up rush hour traffic. At 4:25 yesterday afternoon, DuBois County Sheriff's deputies were called to US 231 and Old Road 45. Deputies say Edward Modice was going northbound on US 231 and had slowed nearly to a stop at the intersection with Old Road 45 for a vehicle in front of him that was trying to turn. Meanwhile, a vehicle behind him, driven by Jeffrey Sanders of Shoals, did not notice that traffic in front of him had stopped. He tried to stop in time but could not and ran into the back of Modice's vehicle. Both Sanders and Modice complained of pain. Sanders was taken to Memorial Hospital for treatment while Modice refused treatment. Sanders' vehicle was totaled. Modice's vehicle had $2,000 in damages. Charges were not filed, though this accident is still under investigation. Budget time is near for the town of Ferdinand, among other entities. Last night, the Ferdinand Town Council set July 28th as their date for this year's budget hearings. Town Council President Ken Seacard says there will be some challenges with this year's budget as the state property tax caps that were enacted several years ago are starting to kick in.
We're starting to see some of that in the fact that the monies that the town gets, are going down. Which puts a strain on us. We don't want to come on with any kind of special fees or anything like that, trying to keep away from doing any of those things that some cities and towns do. Just trying to keep things as best we can. Some of the things that'll help us is, our electrical rates are probably the lowest in the state, and that will help us because we as a town pay for the electricity that we use too.
Seacard says he is projecting less revenue from the state for the upcoming budget cycle. He says costs will be going up, which will further tighten this year's budget. Now, the 2015 spending plan came out to just over $2.2 million for the town. The tax rate for the current budget year was just over 76 cents per $100 of assessed value. In other business, the council heard an update on ongoing legal issues surrounding drainage at the Dollar General store. Seacard says store ownership is currently working with the previous owners to come up with a drainage control plan. Seacard says the town's stormwater department will have to approve any plans that are submitted. Of course, the town decided back in April to pursue legal action after several letters to the store owners about the issue went unanswered. The Huntingburg Airport could wind up as a partner in an ongoing solar park effort. Airport manager Travis McQueen says city officials have approached him for preliminary discussions about a site for the city's new solar park. The area that is being considered would be just north of the airport in the valley off of US 231. McQueen says the airport site is one of several that the city is considering. He says though discussions are preliminary at this point, having the solar park near an airport is a more common trend than you may think.
If you look across the state of Indiana and to the largest airport in Indiana, the Indianapolis airport, they have more than 20 to 40 acres that's already covered with solar panels. It makes sense if you have land that you really can't build buildings on or do anything else with because you're adjacent to an airport. Why not use it for something, both as a revenue stream for a municipality, but also be a little helpful and friendly to the environment?
Now, originally, the city and the Indiana Municipal Power Agency were looking at a site near the city's electric substation at Phoenix Drive and Chestnut Street. However, many residents in that area expressed their concerns during a public hearing held back in February. Those residents were most worried about how close it would be to their neighborhoods, along with the fact that the site was quite small for a potential solar park. If and when it's built, the new solar park would be a 1 megawatt system. IMPA would invest about $2 million towards this project, and the new park could generate around $12,000 a year in tax revenues for the city. The operators of 17 farms from all across Indiana have been picked to represent the Year of the Farmer at this year's Indiana State Fair, a contingent which will include a pair of local farmers. One farmer was picked for each day of the 17-day State Fair, which is set for August 7th through 23rd. They will participate in various events and exhibits throughout the fair. Now, locally, Dan Ware of Jasper and Valerie Duttlinger of Gentryville are being honored. Duttlinger will be honored on the first day, August 7th, for swine, while Ware will be honored later on August 18th for trees and hardwood. State Fair officials say those picked are individuals or families from various elements of Indiana agriculture, including grain, animal, fruit, and tree producers, along with an urban farmer from Indianapolis. Vice President Rehan Gaharia of fair sponsor Dow AgriSciences says the farmers selected will give fairgoers a chance to learn more about those whom he calls the heroes of modern agriculture. A Jasper native will be among more than 60 young women competing for this year's Miss Indiana Scholarship Pageant. Charlotte Olson will compete in the statewide competition, which will get underway this upcoming Sunday, June 14th in Zionsville. Olson will be in the preliminary competition beginning next Wednesday, June 17th and continuing through Friday, June 19th. Finalists will compete for the Miss Indiana crown next Saturday, June 20th, beginning at 6 o'clock. Olson recently graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in dance performance. Her platform will be Sigmund's Love, Empowering Strength and Inner Beauty. Now, this is not the first major pageant that Olson has been in. She's the reigning Miss Northwest Territory and has won several previous competitions. These include being Miss Strassenfest in 2012, Miss Liberty at the University of Alabama in 2013, and she was named as a Miss Indiana All-Star just last year. You will be able to help Olson get it to the finals next Saturday night, and to vote for her during the competition, you can go to missindiana.org/People's Choice. The top 10 contestants in the Miss Indiana category, along with the People's Choice winner, will compete in the Saturday night Miss Indiana Final Pageant. And finally tonight, state lawmakers will be reopening the debate over Indiana's smoking ban this summer. A study committee will look into whether the now 3-year-old ban on smoking in restaurants and in the workplace should be expanded to cover bars and casinos. House Speaker Brian Bosma says it's not likely that legislators will want to revisit this issue during the 2016 legislative session. Meanwhile, House Public Health Chairman Ed Clare acknowledges that the proposal has had difficulty overcoming projections of potential financial damage to the state's gambling industry, though he says Ohio's casinos are already smoke-free. A secondary proposal that may get some attention this summer and next legislative session would be vaping. This year's General Assembly, of course, passed a law imposing health and safety standards on e-cigarette manufacturing, but a proposal by Attorney General Greg Zeller to add vaping to the smoking ban and subject e-cigarettes to the cigarette tax did not get anywhere. Clare says e-cigarette and e-liquid regulations may fare better with another year for lawmakers to reflect and examine recommendations from the study panel. On a final note, the committee will also review the financial impacts of raising the cigarette tax. That tax was last raised in 2007. All right, coming up after the break, dry heat is king of our forecast and tonight's edition of Inform. We're back after this.